Hi everybody. I'm actually just taking a minute to post a short video about a really interesting article that I just read in Investment News. It was actually published yesterday. It was talking about Anthony Bourdain's estate and how there may be some issues with the probate of that estate. One of which is because his divorce from his estranged wife actually was not finalized. So that kind of brings up a really interesting issue in family law about what happens if you're either in the process of a divorce and your spouse dies, or if you're estranged, maybe a divorce complaint has not even been filed and your estranged spouse dies. So ultimately people would think, well, all right, so I'm married, I am entitled to some elective share of my spouse's estate. But that kind of changes if you're either in the process of a divorce or if you are estranged, not living with your spouse, separated from your spouse. You may not necessarily be entitled to that elective share. So what ends up happening is that the court can actually institute a constructive trust, and that's a whole other video for me to describe to you exactly what a constructive trust is. But it basically is for the court to decide what are you entitled to as a spouse of someone who is deceased if you really aren't living in a marital relationship anymore. Because on one end, you still have contributed to attaining those assets on some level if you were married, even if you are estranged at this point. But you're not necessarily entitled to equitable distribution, which you would get if you're in the process of a divorce. But you may also not be entitled to the 1/3 elective share either. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting issue that came up, and I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about what may happen now that that's coming up in the news with Anthony Bourdain's recent passing and what that would do for his estate. You know, if his intention was to leave money to his daughter and not necessarily to his estranged wife, can she now come and make a claim? So I think that what's most important in this, from my view as a matrimonial attorney, is that you really do have to get your affairs in order. If you are estranged from your spouse, it might be a good idea to actually have the divorce finalized so that you can protect your wishes, whatever they may be, in the event of your passing. Or if you're no longer living with your spouse or in the process of divorce but kind of dragging your feet on it a little bit, it really can have a huge impact, you know, to not have these loose ends tied up. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. If you are in the process of getting divorced, or if you're, you know, not living with your spouse, no longer, you know, cohabiting with your spouse, estranged from your spouse, it may be a really good idea to speak to an attorney about whether or not it would be in your best interest to get the divorce finalized, or to speak to an estate attorney as well about what impact that could have if you were to pass away, and what impact that might have on what your spouse would be entitled to receive. So just thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about that. I thought the article was interesting. Maybe that makes me a little bit of a nerd, but I thought it was interesting to talk about the impact that something like that could have if you are in the process of a divorce or if you are estranged from your spouse. So have a good day, everyone.